This week's parasha of Parshas Bo details the last three plagues and the events leading to the Jews finally leaving the land of Egypt. I'd like to take a few minutes to concentrate on the second to last plague, that of darkness. And here we find a very interesting medrash. Medrash asks the following question: where did the darkness of the plague actually come from? Yehuda Reb Nechemia. This turns out to be an argument between two great Tanaim, Rabbi Yehuda and Reb Nechemia. Yehuda Omer Mechoshech Shamala. Yehuda says that the darkness came from that of heaven. Shene'amar, and he quotes a pasuk in Tehillim, he quotes a verse in Psalms, which says as follows: Yashes Choshech Sisro, Sivivosav Sukasel. God, as it were, in his heavenly abode, hides himself with darkness. Rabbi Nechemia Omer Mechoshech Kehenim. Rabbi Nechemia disagrees totally. The darkness doesn't come from heaven. In fact, it comes from Gehenna, it comes from hell. Shene'amar, Eretz Afasa Kmo Ofel Tamaves, Velo Sedarim, Vatova Kmo Ofel. A pasuk in Eov and Job, talking about hell and telling us about the intense darkness that is found there. What is this argument about? I would understand the opinion of Rabbi Nechemia. I understand that perhaps the darkness should come from hell. The goal is to punish the Egyptians. And therefore, the plague of darkness should be a harbinger of the ultimate punishment, the punishment that meets those who sin in eternally, the punishment of eternal darkness. But what is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda? Why does Rabbi Yehuda think that the darkness should in fact come from heaven? Let's take a moment and just think about what the state of Egypt is at this point in time. They've already gone through 8 plagues. The Egyptian economy is totally in shatters. It's in ruins. There's no food. The plagues of Barad, of hail, and the plague of Arba, of locusts, have taken care of that. They're about to come upon the final plague, that of the killing of the firstborn. Moses already warned Paro that God would eventually kill his firstborn. Things are really bad. Now is the time to do what? So, according to Rabbi Yehuda, now is the time to show the Egyptians the other way, how things could be. What does Egypt look like if you follow God? And so, God decided that he was going to bring down into Egypt a little piece of heaven, right? Some of the darkness that comes from his abode, and say to the Egyptians, let me show you what it's like with me. Let me show you what Egypt looks like when there's righteousness, when there's mercy, when there's truth, when there's justice. And that's why Rabbi Yehuda says heaven needed to come down to Egypt to show the Egyptians a different way, because the goal of the plagues was not to punish the Egyptians for the sake of punishment, but the goal of the plagues was to transform Egypt into a place and into a society that knows God. Of course, we know that at the end of the day it doesn't work. We know the end of the story, but the attempt has to be made. The attempt to really transform Egypt into a country serving God was necessary, and one that God carried through, or attempted to carry through, during the plague of darkness. Good Shabbos.